I've been shooting with the Canon R7 for the past few months, and I'm mind blown by the quality of video that comes out of this little camera. It definitely rivals my C70, and I love that I can take it everywhere. The thing that I love most though is the fact that it actually has 3 custom presets on the mode dial, and it makes it so easy to shoot video. So in this video, I'm going to walk through just my basic settings for my 3 custom presets for the R7. Okay, so I just turned on the camera here, and I am in manual mode right here. And that is crucial when setting up custom profiles. So flip your camera over into manual, and let's get started. So let's dive into the menu and start changing the settings so that we can save our first custom profile. So our first one is just going to be a regular 4K fine, and you can flip between either 24 or 30. I like 30p because then I always have the option to slow it down, and I always have this camera handheld. I change the sound recording into manual, and then I drop the levels a little bit, just because you can always recover it if it's recorded a little lower, but if it's peaking, you're never going to be able to. So I disable all the compression, wind filters, noise reduction, all that kind of stuff, because you can always do that in post. Right now I'm just going to leave it at auto white balance, and C-Log 3 is what I shoot on, and then I change the color space into Cinema Gamut. And I actually leave the view assist off. I've had quite a few clips be underexposed when I'm shooting with the view assist on. That's a personal preference, but I also kind of suggest it if you are just shooting by eye. With this camera, I don't really use the waveform, and that's pretty much the only exposure tool that's handy on this camera. Moving on here, skipping over into IS. The image stabilizer on the R7 is absolutely wild. I don't really use digital IS, but if it's a situation that calls for it, I always dive into the menu and turn it on. Shutter button for shooting. Turn that one on as well. Okay, I have boosted this as well, just the AF speed when shooting, the movie servo AF speed, and you can also boost the sensitivity to tracking. Let's keep going. Manual peaking, pretty handy sometimes. Beep, disable, I hate I hate that. Okay, power saving is where we want to be. Okay. Auto power off. 10 minutes. Viewfinder. I do use the viewfinder quite a bit actually when shooting videos. Sometimes it's just a nice point of contact on your body. The screen and screen dimmer are such a pain, so I would definitely suggest to tweak those settings. There is one more setting actually that I like to set, and it's a custom button. It's this button right here. And since my thumb is usually right there, I have changed this to magnification. So I press this and it magnifies so you can see if you're getting focus, and I'll show you that is the digital zoom right there. So you have to scroll down a few, but then yeah, that's how you change it. And that is pretty much the only custom button I've mapped on this. And then audio compression, disable. Actually, the last thing before we save this, it actually remembers your ISO, your frame rate, and your f-stop. So since I shoot a lot with this guy, pretty much this is usually just my full setup. I have an ND on the 24mm, and so for this, I leave it over 1/60th, so that's 180 of 130, and then the max aperture for this lens is f2.8, and then the base ISO for C-Log 3 is 800, so I usually leave it there, and that's just usually my base settings for whenever I flip to C1. So now let's go back and save this as C1. And the other thing I like to keep on is auto update, just in case I turn on things like digital IS or change the shutter, things like that. Now for C2, 2, for my custom 2, I'm going to make this a 60p option. I'm going to leave literally everything the same except for coming down, changing it to 4K, going to 60p, and then switching this to 1/25th of a second, and then saving that as custom 2. Okay, and the last one here. Okay, so the last one I like to do is a stylistic choice, and it's 23 I set. And then I come down here and I literally drop the frame rate as low. I think usually 110 I'll do. So it gets just that like slow shutter look. You can even maybe come down to 1/8. I think that's the lowest it'll let you go. Yeah, okay. So let's lock that in. 3. And those are the 3 most used things that I would do while shooting video. And now you can see if I go to C1 immediately to 1/60th, if I jump into C2, 60 frames, but this is the way I like to shoot, just really bare bones, just looking straight through the viewfinder and just exposing by eye. So hope that helps.